I'm Rick Harp. This is your APTN News Brief for Friday, August 22nd. We begin in Winnipeg, where we now know what it cost to search a landfill north of the city for the remains of two First Nations women. Back in 2023, a feasibility study estimated the search at Prairie Green landfill for Morgan Harris and Marcedes Myran could cost anywhere between $84 and $184 million. The same study said the search could take up to 3 years with no guarantee of a successful outcome. With more on what the actual numbers were, Dennis Ward.
The search at Prairie Green landfill officially ended last month. Earlier this year, the remains of both Myran and Harris were located just months into the search. Premier Canoe said the cost of the search was $18 million, far below the initial estimates. In a statement to APTN News, Canoe said, quote, "The search at Prairie Green landfill included the highest standard of health and safety for the workers, with trauma-informed mental health supports. Most importantly, the landfill search was successful in returning Marcedes Myran and Morgan Harris home. The PCs and their leader should tell Manitobans why they put up billboard ads exaggerating the cost of the search by 10 times. A spokesperson for the PC caucus in a statement to APTN News said the $184 million cost estimate was contained in a study commissioned by the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs, not a dollar figure produced by the PCs. The statement goes on to say, quote, "As you are aware, former Premier Stephenson, interim leader Iwasko, and PC leader Abi Khan have all apologized for the 2023 election campaign and the harm it caused to the victims' families. The party did not respond to a question about the amount of money spent on the advertising campaign opposing the landfill search."
Still in that city, an urban reserve there is about to take its first critical step with some help from the feds. Still mostly empty, the large plot of land once known as the Capyoung Barracks will now move into its design phase. Sav Jonza reports.
What we're doing here has never been seen before or has been experienced across Canada.
The largest multi-use project in Winnipeg's modern history is gaining momentum.
109-acre property that is right in the middle of the most affluent community in Winnipeg.
Still in its early stages, the Nawe-Odina Urban Reserve is taking its first critical step forward, thanks to help from the Government of Canada. The 109-acre swath of land on what used to be an army base will receive almost $800,000 in additional money from Indigenous services. The money will help cover 45% of the costs related to infrastructure design for roads, lighting, sewer systems, and plumbing for some sections of the property.
Located in the single largest Indigenous economic zone in Canada, it is a monumental step forward to integrating Indigenous culture and business into Winnipeg's urban fabric and providing opportunities for future generations.
ISC Minister Mandy Golmasti says the investment aligns with Canada's plan to address the national housing crisis. Nearly 5,000 housing units will be built on the site along with businesses and other developments.
Housing, commercial development, education, health, and community space are critical for First Nations. Nawe-Odina stands as one of the largest and most ambitious First Nations-led economic development projects in Canadian history.
Nawe-Odina is being developed by the Treaty 1 Development Corporation, a partnership of 7 First Nations. The project began in 2019 and has received a total of $5.5 million in funding from Canada so far.
I think it's important for all levels of government to see this urban economic First Nation zone being successful.
Broken Head Ojibwe Nation Chief Gordon Bluesky says it is important the project has city, provincial, and federal support to succeed.
Because it just allows to show what working together looks like.
A gas station and convenience store opened on the property this June. It may take more than a decade to finish the project in full. Sav Jonza, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
A pair of stories out of Bechoko, Northwest Territories now. The first concerns the apprehension of a man suspected of stabbing another man back on August 19th. RCMP responded to a call of 2 men fighting. Upon arrival, officers found one man on the ground with multiple knife wounds. The other had fled the scene. First aid was provided to the victim till paramedics arrived. Now, 24-year-old Keanu Lafferty of Bechoko has been charged with aggravated assault. The victim's name and condition have not been released. Meanwhile, 2 people are in custody after Bay-Choco police found drugs in their vehicle during an August 17th traffic stop, pulling the vehicle over for a driver sobriety test. RCMP found both cannabis and nearly 290 grams of suspected crack cocaine. Now, 19-year-old Brock Mercredi of Yellowknife and a 16-year-old male who cannot be named are both charged with possession of a controlled substance for the purpose of trafficking. After appearing before a justice of the peace, they've both been remanded into custody. To southern BC, where the Chilcotin Nation has issued a warning that Chinook salmon are still at risk from the 2024 Chilco landslide. The Chilcotin Vice Chief said, quote, "The rock fall risk at Nagwentlet is a threat to our salmon, our safety, and our way of life." Late last July, a landslide fully blocked the Chilco during the key migration period for sockeye and Chinook salmon. Now a high-risk tension crack has appeared on the slope above Farwell Canyon, one expected to fail soon, according to the Nation. They say it's creating a rock slide that could block the salmon migration beyond the canyon. Now an emergency salmon task force has been created, including the Chilcotin National Government, the province, as well as Fisheries and Oceans Canada. It actively works with the Pacific Salmon Commission to monitor the situation. And finally, the First Nations School Board in Yukon says it's starting the school year with the lowest teacher vacancy rate since its inception in 2022. As of August 1st, the board has 8.5 vacancies out of 179 positions across its 11 schools. Those numbers include teachers, principals, vice principals, First Nations language teachers, and educational assistants. By way of comparison, the board reported 25 vacancies at the start of the 2024 school year, 23 in 2023. Board Chair Dana Tizia-Tram says they filled the vacancies by cutting bureaucracy and with extra literacy and numeracy coaches for students.
The way that First Nation School Board is approaching this, not from a budget lens, but from what meets our students' needs and supporting teachers, we feel is that recipe that draws the excitement of educators who really want to be a part of something innovative with a school board that's blazing all new trails in education.
Meanwhile, the Yukon government's vacancy numbers, which only count teachers, principals, and vice principals, reports 95% of their 165 positions filled as of August 1st. The new school year begins this Monday. And that's your APTN News Brief for Friday, August 22nd. I'm Ray Karp.